Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 426th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So it's actually kind of wild how long it's taken me to get to a solo project from the late legend Guru, considering I've discussed a myriad of albums from Gangstar, his groundbreaking duo with DJ Premier, with reviews for the like of 1991's Step in the Arena, 1992's Daily Operation, 1994's Hard to Earn, and 1998's Moment of Truth. I think the main reason I hadn't covered the first volume of Guru's Jazzmatazz series until now is because I wanted to touch on some other Gangstar Foundation members first, like Jeru the Damaja, MOP, or Group Home. But while this late icon may be a staple of the channel at this point, there is a clear sonic difference and separation between his work with DJ Premier and this collection of solo LPs which take a decidedly jazzier approach, opting to utilize live instrumentation in an era where it was basically unheard of outside of Stetsasonic. In fact, the first installation of Jazzmatazz actually dropped one day before The Roots and their debut full-length with Organics, and while, like I said, there were certain other groups and artists who had experimented with these type of live instruments in the studio, to my knowledge, this was one of the first examples where that aspect was really baked into the main theme of the album. Though despite the first 3 volumes being pretty excellent pieces of hip-hop, including the debut we are discussing today, 1995's Jazzmatazz Volume 2, The New Reality, and even 2000's Jazzmatazz 3, Street Soul. The 4th LP in this series came at a relatively dark time in the Gangstar history. While I don't want to delve too deep into this here, basically this pretty awful dude named Solar produced the entirety of the 4th installation, which still ended up falling short despite some pretty impressive guest appearances. And that's because this dude didn't build up a true career and skill set like Premier or the other producers Guru was used to working with. Instead, to make a long story short, he ended up manipulating Guru and almost taking control of his life in a sense, leading to a split with Primo as well as many of his friends, and basically cementing the end of Gangstar up until Guru's tragic death. I mean, this dude's entire argument for why he should be in charge of Gangstar's legacy is because he apparently co-wrote, produced, and performed on 2 of the worst Gangstar albums out there, which didn't even come until the 2000s, as well as 1 song on the 8 Mile soundtrack, compared to DJ Premier, who, produced virtually every single Gangstar classic in existence, and was one half of the duo. And that's not even mentioning the extremely suspect deathbed letter that supposedly was written by Guru, despite him being in a damn coma at the time, where he disavowed Primo and insisted on giving everything to Solar conveniently, who just so happened to be the only person in existence who can even co-sign that this letter was written by Guru, again, which nobody else saw and took place while he was in a coma. But let me stop before I end up spending the entire video talking about that leech, because as you can tell, it's a pretty volatile situation, and luckily that vulture wasn't really yet circling at the time of the first album's conception to my knowledge. But even though I'm positive that DJ Premier was a frequent presence in these sessions, for once you can't really give him the credit for the killer sound on Jazzmatazz. Because for starters, obviously there's a number of talented live musicians who remove the usual need for chopping, looping, and sample clearing, and any production that was done was apparently actually handled by Guru himself. However, of course I have to share all of the skilled artists who contributed to this LP, because not only do we get a group of pretty high-profile jazz musicians, like Simon Law, Branford Marsalis, Courtney Pine, Donald Byrd, Gary Barnacle, Lonnie Liston Smith, Ronnie Jordan, Roy Ayers, and Zachary Bro. But there's also a few guest appearances from singers like Nadea Davenport, Carlene Anderson, and DC Lee, though we only see one other actual rapper appear on Jazzmatazz, and that's the French hip-hop pioneer MC Solar, not to be confused with the other Solar I discussed earlier, because this dude is actually a legend, and I'm pretty sure I at least briefly mentioned him in my review for I Am's L'école de Micro d'Argent. Guru may not have been the densest lyricist to ever touch a mic, but his real power came through his voice and how he chose to execute his bars, which really aligns with the jazz theme of the series, because he's one of those dudes who had a real musicality to his flow, to the point it almost acts as an extra instrument of its own. Also, this album is much more vibe and aesthetic centered, and it wouldn't really fit the mood if Guru came in just aggressively spitting the hardest 16 known to man. I think it's just another example of someone knowing what lane they excel in, and staying within it, which in my mind is totally respectable, because people like Pusha T get way too much flack for only rapping about one thing. And not only is that kind of nonsense, but nobody was going to Clips in the first place for poppy, auto-tuned hits. And there's something to be said about not trying to fix something that isn't broken and staying true to yourselves, which definitely paid off with the latest Clips album, which is arguably album of the year. But don't think I'm ever remotely implying that Guru isn't delivering as an MC on this thing, because it really couldn't be further from the opposite. In fact, he's laying down some quotable lines on pretty much every song. And one moment I want to pull from is Transit Ride, specifically the third verse, where Guru comes in rapping, "I can't quit, I gotta do what I must. 'Cause I can take you on a ride with the lyrics I bust. 'Cause I'm a master, try to diss and I'll blast ya. Any whack MC that steps up is getting plastered. Straight against the wall, 'cause I don't stall. I give them drama and trauma till they all fall. And for those who don't know about the city life, it's where we take no pity and the kiddies are trife. Taking the train is just part of it, the next stop is Brooklyn. You're coming to the heart of it, you never know what will occur. So just keep to yourself and watch the closing doors." In this case, I already covered all the guest appearances and people who helped with production, so I'm going to get right into my honorable mentions, which for this one would probably consist of tracks like No Time to Play, Take a Look at Yourself, Trust Me, La Bien, Le Mall, Size in the City, and When You Are Near. Then for my overall top 3 favorites, I think I would have to go with Transit Ride, Loungin', and Slicker Than Most. Thank you for watching my 426 video. Next up, we have a legendary outfit that hasn't been on the page for a while now, so check in for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite songs off this groundbreaking solo debut are. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.